I would say is that you don't have a definition of what a disclosure is. And we call that using the lowercase d disclosures. Anything I tell you is a disclosure. In our world, a disclosure is content that's required to be communicated by law, reg, or rule. It's very specific. There are also no standards, right? So I would throw the no definition and no standards into one bucket. There's limited ownership at most financial institutions of the disclosure. Oftentimes, people will try to say that compliance owns a disclosure, and the regulators have been fairly clear in saying that compliance is not the owner. They are not the first line of defense. It has to be the business that owns the disclosures. Third thing is they're not linked to those laws, regs, and rules. So once again, you don't know why you're saying it, right? So those laws, regs, rules have what we call obligations. That's why you're making the communication. And what you brought up a little earlier, Brent, was the traceability. I mean, broadly, the lack of traceability, particularly then out to their communications. And if any of the viewers of this webcast had to live through the LIBOR language changes, right? That should be relatively fresh in their heads. To be able to find where you were using the term LIBOR, which is a disclaimer, not a disclosure, but it follows a similar pattern. If you had to go look at all your contracts and all your various spots that you may use the word LIBOR, I know banks where it was a 6-month effort to find that language. If you have traceability, that should be minutes, not months. So it's fundamental that you have traceability from a operational execution end and a maintenance end. It's just lacking in most places. And then the last one, I would say of the sort of top 5, is banks generally are not paying attention to the customer complaints related to disclosures. They're not categorized in a special way. So banks, particularly good banks who now have a common collection spot, are not breaking out disclosures to realize that risk that's laying there, because for every dissatisfied customer with a disclosure issue, if somebody is going to bring that to the attention of the regulators, and then you've got a real financial problem on your hands.